Everyone today is screaming about recession, the job market's in the toilet, and we just posted this meme a few weeks back that got 5.7 million views on Instagram, joking about getting rejected from 500 jobs in a row, but clearly that's resonating with people. So in this video, we're gonna talk about how you can not only survive this total economic collapse, but actually thrive and land your dream job. In this video, I'm gonna make sure you walk away with two things. One is total clarity on what's hype and what's real when it comes to the current job market, like what is the actual state of the job market today, not just all hype. And two is I'm gonna show you tangible strategies that I used a few years back in one of the worst recent hiring freezes of all time, in which I booked 50 interviews in 30 days, which is honestly crazy numbers, but here's a screenshot of 3 weeks so you actually know it's legit. And I'm gonna make sure you have these tangible strategies that guarantee you book at least 3 to 5 interviews per week, regardless of your field of work, regardless of your experience, as long as you have at least a little bit of experience on your resume. So buckle up, let's get into it. I'm Delaney William. This channel is about building future business leaders that not only survive, but thrive during the coming AI tech transformation. So if that's you, if you want to make sure you're crushing it financially over the next 5 to 10 years amidst economic uncertainty, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to this channel. We'll make sure you get awesome free content every week. All right, let's jump into it. So the first thing you need to do if you want to land your dream job in this current economic state is get clarity on what are you qualified to do. 300 to 500 people are applying to every job out there. So if you have little experience, like I would say a minimum of 3 to 5 years of experience in a field of work, it is going to be much more challenging to find work. You can start with internships, you can start with entry-level work, but if you're trying to pivot and jump into a new field of work, I say make that a goal. Make that happen for yourself, but it might take you a year or two to build up enough side projects or enough experience on your resume that you'll be considered a qualified candidate. How do we do this tactically? Make a list of all the fields of work that you've had legitimate experience, at least a few years, and you can ask ChatGPT, based on this experience, what other fields of work am I currently qualified for? The next thing you need to do here is make sure there's enough volume of those jobs available. So head over to LinkedIn, do a search for those top 5 to 10 job titles you've come up with, and see how many jobs have been posted remote in the last 30 days. If you're in a field of work that's more nuanced, there's a lot of different variation in the titles, it might be much tougher for you to land a role because in the coming steps, you're gonna see that we need to optimize our resume for those specific job titles. Like your resume needs to be built around all the keywords for UX designer or senior product manager. And if it's not, you're not gonna get interviews because we're playing this game that's based on basically SEO optimization. So do a search, identify how many job postings have been created in the last 30 days for those fields you're considering. And I highly encourage you to find the cross section of I'm qualified to do this, and there have been at least 500 jobs posted in the last 30 days for the specific title, because then you can play the numbers game. And let's say you get one interview for every 100 jobs you apply to. Well, if you can get 500 applications out per week, then you have 5 interviews coming your way, and we're seeing a lot of momentum. 2 is optimizing your resume to bypass the ATS. The ATS is fancy language for the AI algorithm that's built into LinkedIn, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, all the actual websites for companies who have you apply on their websites to scan your application. That might be your LinkedIn, it's your resume, and comparing it to the job posting, and using their algorithm predict how likely of a fit you are for this posting. That determines if you show up on page 1 or page 36 for the recruiter or the hiring manager. So if you know you have a great experience, but you're not booking interviews, it's probably because you haven't mastered this step and there's some issues with your resume. With our clients, we walk through really comprehensive ways to make sure you have perfection when it comes to your ATS. But as a beginner or entry level, we have a free course down in the description that'll help you use ChatGPT to identify what are the keywords you need in your resume so that you can bypass the ATS and land more interviews. Example of one of our clients that booked 7 to 10 interviews every single week for months on end. It was honestly insane. And his resume is optimized for the ATS. What are we looking for? We're looking at formatting. So really simple formatting is super important for you. If you have a fancy multi-column resume, we need to throw that out. We need to start with something really simple because simple can be read by the AI systems. Complex, complicated fonts, colors, columns, all those things will throw off the tool's ability to interpret what's on your resume and give you a good score. And we also want to make sure we're using as much space as possible. If you're not taking up almost the entire white space on the resume, it shouldn't look too packed and ugly, but with the proper formatting combined with the right margins, etc., you want to make use of every single line on the resume to its fullest, because the more keywords you can jam pack into your resume, the better it's going to score. Impact is also really important, not only having keywords, but making sure you come across as someone who's going to bring a ton of impact to the organization is critical. How do we do this? it's through quantification. You shouldn't be quantifying things that are not important, like the size of the team you led or the number of support emails you answered isn't important. The quality matters. The best way to quantify quality is through dollar value impact. The way you do that is cost savings or revenue created. Everything should tie back to that. If you're in marketing, you can also use marketing like conversion numbers, but at the end of the day, a 36% increase in conversion rate doesn't mean anything, but an extra $400,000 per quarter means a lot. So actually draw it out to the dollar value as much as possible, whatever your field of work is. Even if you're a UX designer, that design you created eventually created revenue for your company. So take ownership of that. And rather than saying I designed 36 projects, say I generated $40,000 in new customer revenue via designs, because that shows impact. Third is application volume. Like I mentioned, even the best resume that's optimized and dialed will get about 1 interview for every 100 jobs applied to. That's just the state of the market with a high competition. So you need to figure out how to get a large volume of applications out. Personally, I was able to go from 80K to 390K last year, stacking multiple roles on top of each other because I had an amazing outreach system. So personally, I hired a virtual assistant from the Philippines, an amazing woman named Rosette, who is my ride or die, has helped me build a 7-figure company. But anyways, when I first hired her, I had her applying to jobs for me, paying her a few dollars an hour. And I knew that even if everything went completely wrong and this process didn't work, because I didn't have someone to teach me how to do it, I figured this out myself. And I was like, okay, if I pay her a couple $100s a month, I could go 6 months with making $0 and I'll have spent maybe 2K on her, but she's helping me land a job for 150K. So even if I went years and this didn't hit, eventually it would hit and I would have an insane return on my investment. The bottom line for you, you need to figure out how to be getting out at least 1,000, if not 2,000 high quality applications per month so that you can have 10 to 20 interviews per month and you build momentum. The best way to do that is to outsource it and have either an automation or someone in the Philippines or a different country or a combination of the two like we do in-house to give you your time back so you can do more high leverage things with your free time, like do more side projects, build a personal brand, things that continue to set you apart. And again, this is what really had a massive unlock for me and allowed me to stack multiple roles because I wasn't wasting time applying. I was doing more high leverage activities. 4 is bonus ninja strategy. So like I mentioned, the name of the game is freeing up your time. If you're not the one that has to do all the applying, you can do more high leverage activities. That could be tactical networking. 2 of my favorite ninja moves that you can do to differentiate and get an edge against other people in the job market is using automations. So you can use some automation tools like Meet Alfred or others to automate the outreach to potential hiring managers. So I was able to actually create a dream job interview for a position that I was so unqualified for at Oura Ring, like the biometric ring company. I'm super into health and wellness, and this was literally like my favorite product ever. And I had this automation running that would reach out to the hiring managers, and rather than saying, hey, are you hiring? I was trying to give them free value. And through that process, they were like, wow, this guy is really interesting and neat. And they invited me into an interview. So you can do something like that. What you can also do is identify companies securing funding. There are websites that'll let you know which companies just acquired Series A or Series B funding. You can reach out to the CEOs or the HR leaders, the talent acquisition specialists at those companies, and try to get your foot in the door for an interview, which if you go that route, you might not have as much competition than the 500 people applying to jobs as they get posted. And 5, this one seems obvious, but it's the most important one that messes up so many people. It's mindset. We have over 40 clients. We've helped stack multiple roles or land their next role in the last calendar year. And the number one thing that holds them back is poor mindset. It's tough. The job market is tough. Like I mentioned, when you're applying, even with a great resume, you'll get 99 rejections for every interview. And that can feel demoralizing. So my invitation is to always have a lot of self-awareness and monitor your emotional state. And anytime you get down in the dumps, just try to remind yourself or get back into a state of, what can I do today to set myself up for success? So the more time you feel down in the dumps, you're really just going to sabotage your results. So it's all about, am I optimizing my day so I'm putting as much energy as possible into the things that will move the needle? I can't decide if I'm going to get invited for an interview or not, but I can decide that I'm going to continue working on my portfolio, that I'm going to keep refining my resume, that I'm going to keep working on my LinkedIn, that I'm going to keep reaching out to people, that I'm going to increase the number of jobs I'm applying to, that I'm going to build a system that helps me apply to more jobs on my behalf. All these things are things you can do to just take more ownership of the process. And the more you can short circuit that negative mental loop and get back into optimism, the better your job search is going to be and the more magnetic you're going to be when you end up getting on those interviews with companies. So again, I know the job market can feel demoralizing. A lot of people are struggling, but take it from me, I was able to basically 5x my corporate income last year in a pretty tough job market. We've helped 40 people land remote roles this year. And it doesn't have to be as hard as it looks. The unemployment rate right now is still around 4%, which historically is very, 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 very low. So there are jobs out there. You just need a better strategy. So if you're still watching this video, if this is intriguing to you, you can click the link down below to book a call with our team, short 15-minute conversation to see if our services are a fit for you. We guarantee a 100% job placement in 6 months. So we are pretty diligent of the type of people we let into our program. But nevertheless, we'd love to hop on a call with you and see if we can support you in your journey. Have a great day.